I feel like the girl who gets out of a relationship finds the first person and dates him. Yeah, what am I explaining myself? But I feel like it's different when it's just like you go from one thing and then like you just accept the next person and like you're not going through all the options, because that makes it like harder. It makes it a lot harder to commit.
Really, the most realist thing you've ever said.
Chemical X.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Chemical X podcast. I'm your girl, Alessia.
I'm your girl, Veronica.
And today we have a special guest. A guest we've wanted on the podcast since we've started, right?
Since a long time.
I can't even believe they're here in Montreal and they're on the podcast. Like, I'm freaking out.
I'm just blessed, honestly. In my house, that's crazy.
Do you want to introduce?
I will. Guys, I'd like to introduce to you Leo, not DiCaprio, but Leo Rossi, my very own son, who's eating something. Here, ASMR. Something you shouldn't be eating. Open your mouth.
Honestly, I have to say, one of the cutest little pups I've ever seen. What does he have in his mouth?
A tag. Open your mouth. I just open it in his mouth and I shake it. It's very like... Okay.
I feel like there's never been a dog that matches someone so much. Like, is your pubes that color?
It might be. But it's just funny because I have, obviously, my sister's dog looks identical to him, but it's like he almost matches me even more because he just has like a little more, I don't know, his hair color is
a little
just
more
really,
golden.
Yeah, it's like really on point to my color, and he's also a fucking pest. So you're just like mommy.
Yeah.
Show the camera how you bite me. Bad boy.
So cute.
So anyways, guys, I don't know if you guys know, I spoke about it a little bit, but I always wanted a dog my whole life. And like for recently, like the past like 2 years, I really wanted a dog. Mm-hmm. And I was like going back and forth, didn't know what to get. And if you guys need a reason not to get a dog, this is it, Leo. But yeah, I was never sure. And obviously I live in an apartment, so I was like, you know, tricky, but then
it's gotta be a small dog.
I was searching for the perfect dog, and I found him, and I drove all the way to Toronto to pick him up.
So cute. Well,
can we talk about the
girl who gave you your son?
My son who looked like me.
Who looked like you?
Yeah. She was basically a Russian version of me.
Literally.
Like same height, same body, blonde, same style hair. I was like, Minga, he's not even gonna notice the difference.
Literally. He's gonna be like, and this is mommy.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
How do you feel now that you have a dog? Do you feel like you have a child? I
don't feel like I have a child. It's definitely different, but
yeah. How is it when you have a child?
I'm saying like the thing is with him is like I know that I can like leave him the night and it's like I don't have to worry. You know what I mean? Like It's like I'm putting him to bed and he's going to bed. Like it's not like a baby where you're like every waking minute you're like Jesus Christ. Okay, Leo, it's enough now. It's enough now.
He was so good before.
He's being camera shy. You're getting away from.
Come on, you're not like mommy. Mommy's not camera shy.
Be
Mommy
like
loves the camera. You're gonna have to get used to that.
Be like mommy. Anyways, so I feel like it's different from having a kid, but it's definitely a lot of like, what's the word?
Responsibility.
Because you just feel like I'm keeping you alive. Do you know what I mean? Like, It's kind of scary to be like. Like
he eats if I feed him.
You know what I mean? And it's
he
like...
He shits and pisses on the pad if I bring him.
And also, sometimes it's like, I don't know what you need because you can't speak. So there's just a lot of things. I think when you have a dog that's solely yours, it's a little bit different from having like a family dog where you feel so like...
different.
Concerned, but also like I really loved it. I think I was like really at a point where I was really ready to get a dog because I was like so excited. You know, like I planned his vet appointment, his first grooming appointment. Like I planned all these things before I even had him. Like it was just really fun to like have a little guy to like take care of. Yeah. And like it's still really fun to take care of him. And like I love training him and like, I don't know, it's really fun. But then also like I get these moments, block yours. I get these moments where I'm like, I need like, you're mine for the next like 15 years. Like, and it scares me sometimes because I feel like I've never had such a big commitment.
Yeah.
All of my commitments have been things that like I could, get away from, right? But like when it's a dog, it's a fucking commitment. And I don't want it to sound like you're a bad mom right now. Like it's gonna sound like, what the fuck, you shouldn't have a dog.
No one's thinking
that. But part of it is like you realize like, fuck, like every decision
because of me.
Every decision I make for the next 15 years like is gonna revolve around you somewhat.
And who says Leo's only gonna last 15 years? Maybe he's gonna live longer.
Maybe he's gonna die early.
All things we don't know.
But it's just like, it's just crazy to think like now it's like every trip I have to think about this. And the other day, like I got this like panic where I was like, oh my God, like I can't just get up and go anymore. Like it's kind of scary. But then at the same time, it's like I chose a dog that I could do those things with. Like I'm planning to bring him wherever I want to go. And if I want to go somewhere extended or whatever, Yeah. But it's still scary. It's still like a thing where you're like, oh,
I know for sure.
Like I can't just, like, what if something happens and then what do I do with you? Like,
have you been getting stopped while walking with your dog?
Yeah, but I don't really take him for walks because he's not vaccinated yet.
So we all know that I guess I'm a Christian because I'm wearing a necklace with 2 crosses, not 1, but 2, just in case you forgot.
Are you saving yourself for marriage? Guys, Alessia has been begging for this necklace because it's been sold out. Mm-hmm. So she's been begging for it and it's finally here. So you better wear it every day.
I have it in silver and now I have it in gold because, what's better than 2 crosses? 4. There's so many things on their website that I absolutely love. And this just happens to be one for me. Veronica's wearing a heart necklace that opens up. She could put a little
nothing inside because I'm heartless.
But it says Veronica and it's super cute and honestly looks like real gold. If you guys are looking to get any jewelry to add to your collection, head over to Every Jewels and use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off the entire website.
Hi. But a lot of people love him. Bitches love him.
Oh, yeah.
So if anybody wants to rent him for a fee to get a girl, the fee's high.
The fee is very high. So how'd you come up with the name Leo?
I had a list for like, I don't know how long of a billion names.
You know what's funny? We went through the list together and like she had like 15 names on the list. And the 3 that I chose were the 3 she was thinking about.
Yeah.
So.
And also the name I chose was not on the list.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. I stressed so hard about picking the perfect name. And then I ended up choosing a name that I always wanted to name my son. But I was like, am I going to waste it on a dog? And then I was like, you know what? Like, you know what I realized in life? We always reserve things for like the perfect moment, the perfect time. I was reserving that name for like my son, my future son. But I was like, you know what? I feel like we always plan. We like save things for like these perfect special moments. And then it never happens that way. It's like by the time I have a son, what if I have daughters? And then I
told you, Veronica, you're gonna get a girl just because you want.
100%. But it's like we always like reserve these things for like these perfect moments, and then it never happens like that. So I'm starting to realize that it's just like just do what you want to do, and like don't plan so much. It's like that thing of like I was watching a TikTok of a girl where she's like, I bought these like really expensive chocolates from Italy, and like I brought them home, and I was like saving them for a special occasion, and then she's like, and then they expired. And I was like, that's life, like you preserve something, you save it for so long, and then you lose the shelf life, Yeah. So I think that's my lesson here is just do things when you want to do them. And that's the perfect name for him because he looks like a little lion.
Okay, little baby.
So yeah, so I have a son. I'm a mother now.
How does your...
And he's also famous on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, we had a whole conversation. Girls who make... people make Instagrams of their pets.
Yeah, I said if there's anyone who could do it, it's you, and we were not gonna have to worry about it having a personality. And let me tell you what you don't shy away from on that TikTok.
A personality.
I think Leo is like speaking for all dogs at this point.
Oh, he's a farmer and a half. But yeah, what's new with you?
So wait. What do you want to say what the Instagram account is?
Oh, his Instagram account is Little Leo Bear, actually. And he talks a lot of shit. But he's famous. You're going to out fucking fame us, you little shit.
Literally at the rate it's going, it's not looking good for us.
But you know what? Sometimes it's like when a dog's famous, it's like you look at it like, do you even know? Like, you know what I mean? Like, those dogs that are really famous, it's like, do you even know this shit? Like Tom Ford's cat. Does he know? Choupette. Does he know he has people dressing up as him?
He has no idea.
No idea.
There's so much new with me, but there's also nothing new with me. So like,
I mean, I feel like it's been like a month since it's been more since we filmed like alone. Fika, hit it, Fergie.
Yeah. You're like so tall.
So anything new? Any new dates?
Yeah, I was kind of like seeing someone for like a brief second. I always said to myself, like, my next relationship is gonna be someone like I give like my all to. And like this was such a weird thing because I was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out the entire time. And I don't know if this like relates to a lot of people, but like when you've been single for like a minute now, you're like, okay, I'm having anxiety about getting into a relationship. Is it because like I've been single for so long that like I don't like the idea of like having to like commit to someone fully? And like the fear of like knowing if there's like better out there is kind of scary. I was kind of going back and forth if it was like a feeling I was having because I didn't feel like everything I wanted in this relationship I was getting, or if it was because the fear of just like always thinking that there's better out there.
Right.
And then like I came to the conclusion after and I was like, no, it's not that I'm not ready for a relationship and I'm not ready to like give it all. I think it's more just like, you know, the fact that like you realize obviously in a relationship there's compromise and there's certain things that I was kind of going into it like, okay, I can compromise, and then realizing slowly after that like I think this is more like a personality trait and like I don't think that like I can I waited 3 years to get into something that I don't feel like I'm 100 about, and which I think was scaring me, and being able to be like, I'm in a relationship now, or like I'm seeing somebody.
But I think like we're never 100%. Like,
oh God, don't make me go back on this whole decision.
No, that's all I was gonna say. I think like there's always going to be things that are like, I'm gonna compromise on this. Like it's normal. Like I don't feel like you're ever gonna find someone that's gonna tick every single box.
For sure.
But,
I know that. And I don't want a perfect I'm not asking for a perfect person.
But I think like also sometimes there is just certain things that like you don't need to compromise on, and like that's okay too. You know what I mean? Like I think it's also like, you don't need somebody perfect, but you also need things that you're willing to compromise on. And that's what I want to talk about is like, I think it's so interesting. I was watching what was I watching that you were saying like, fuck, no one's dated as much as I've dated or something like that. You were like, God knows, like I've been on the most dates. Yeah. And it's so true. But I think like that kind of also affects the way you see relationships. Yeah. Because like, this is what we were talking about on the phone is like, you're constantly categorizing people on like a list of qualities. What does this person have? What do I like about this person? And like when you're seeing that all the time and you're like picking and choosing almost the qualities you like, you're like finding new qualities, and then it's like you're almost trying to find someone that can encompass all of them. Yeah. And I feel like it makes it, as much as dating makes it easier, it also in a way makes it harder. So hard. Because it's like, I feel like the girl who gets out of a relationship finds the first person and dates him. Yeah, what am I explaining myself? But I feel like it's different when it's just like you go from one thing and then like you just accept the next person, and like you're not going through all the options, because that makes it like harder. It makes it a lot harder to commit.
Really the most realist thing you've ever said. Like it's, you know what's so weird is that I feel like I'm so ready in a way, but then I also like in this span of like seeing someone, I feel like I also realized like my wrongs and like what I need to work on, and like where like I'm having issues, and like one is obviously communication. I feel like
really when you have a podcast,
it's so weird how like I have a podcast and I explain my entire life, but meanwhile I could still be with a partner having a hard time communicating. I think we just had different ideas and expectations, and I think that can really, really set off to a bad start, you know, when like you feel like you're going to be getting something and like expecting that person to like follow through, but meanwhile they have no idea that that's what you're expecting out of a relationship. And then over time it just feels like this, like you have this animosity towards someone, but then they don't really know how you feel. But then I start to think you do know how I feel, you're just choosing to ignore it. So then that's like fucking toxic, you know? And then I don't know, like it just became difficult. And then like I felt like we were getting to a stage of like, you know, the person is like, just communicate, tell me how you feel so we can fix it. And then I felt like I was communicating, but I don't feel like, maybe I didn't give it the chance to like fix and like work. And like the first thing that happened, I was kind of like,
like, but this is my reason.
This is my reason. But you were even telling me there, like, Alessia, I feel like you're like 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And I'm truly starting to think that there's a reason behind why somebody would be like 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And I think if I had if I felt 100, I would have fully been in, because I think like I know myself and I know when I'm ready to be fully in.
Yeah.
So like I think there's definitely something. I'm still like
But-
figuring it out because it's still fresh and new. I'm still trying to like.
Yeah. But I will say, like, yeah, you know yourself and you know when you're ready to be in a relationship. But like you getting into your last relationship was like a very different person. Like you last time was
Yeah.
not at all who you are now. Like very different experiences, very different
So
dating
true.
life. Like you didn't do all the things that you did this time around, right? Like when you left your last relationship, you had a wildly different experience when it came to being single.
Yeah.
Whereas before you weren't really dating around. You weren't really like traveling and meeting people in
Yeah.
different places. Like that's a whole new world that I feel like changes your perspective. And so I think like we also have to like let go of expectations that we set off our past selves. Like it might not be the same way you saw it before because you're not the same person you were before. So you might not feel that same whatever it was you felt the first time. But it doesn't mean that it means that you should do it. I'm just saying that it's like you're not the same person and you might not be also getting into it the same energy.
I think I also put a lot of pressure on myself because I'm like, it is 3 years I'm single. Like I didn't come this far to come this far.
Yeah.
Like in a sense of like, oh my God, like if I'm at any point like settling down, it better be for like the right reasons, for the right things. And it really needs to be like, I'm getting what I like didn't get the first time, or like what I really, really want. So like that's been also difficult because I'm putting pressure on myself, right? That I'm kind of like the next person I settle down with, I always say is like probably gonna be like my future like partner, or I'm gonna do life with. And that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody where you're just like trying to take things fucking day by day. Like,
Yeah.
do I like this person tomorrow? Like, why don't you
Yeah.
start there? Like, why are we like, whoa, if I'm settling down, we're gonna make this work. Like, whoa, easy, chill.
Absolutely. Well, you know what though? Like you actually do need to let that go because
I know.
when I was getting into my relationship, my boyfriend had this video where he was talking about like you shouldn't date unless you're ready to like spend your life with that person and unless you're ready to marry. And I had seen it.
And I get that
and
though.
but I was like shook by it because I was like, I am not this person right now. And like I can't commit to like I can't commit to that. Like I'm not in that mind space. And so it tripped me out so much that I felt like I was getting into a marriage before I was getting into a relationship. And it tripped me out. And like eventually like I spoke to him about it and he was like, yeah, but like that's not how I feel. Like he was just like, I was just saying a message. Like it's just like something that I was saying. Like I think it resonates with a lot of people, but he's like, that's not actually like how I'm living my life. He's like, for me, it's like whatever happens, happens. Sure, if it leads to my forever partner, that's obviously ideal. But he's like, I'm not going into this 3 dates in saying you're gonna be my wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's like, I'm also very like what's the word, like conscious and like knowing that things happen. And I was like, wow, like that made me feel so much better because I was putting this pressure of like if I'm trying this out with you, it feels like it's permanent. And I think that's such a scary pressure to put on yourself. Like sometimes, you know how they say like it's what is it, like seasons, some things are seasons, some things are
forever,
whatever. Like there's a thing, but like
I know what you're
I think
saying.
it's like sometimes like you meet someone and like you said, whether this goes anywhere or not, it's like you still learn so many things that you need to like work on yourself. And that's already like a really important thing to have learned. So it's like if that's all that relationship was for, then that's good enough. And if it would have lasted 6 months, if it would have lasted a year, like all these things still matter. It doesn't mean because they didn't lead to a marriage that it's like less worthy.
I think I'm just conscious because I was like, it's bad to say, but I'm like, I wasted 3 years of my last relationship. And it's not a waste. It was a lesson. It was needed to happen. But I'm just now like, I'm like, I can't do another 3 years of this if I'm feeling this way in like month one.
Yeah.
You know? And I know it's never going to be perfect, but I think I just got to listen to my gut on this. And it's kind of what I'm going with. I don't know if it's the right decision, but only time will tell. But I don't know. It's really hard when you like so many things about somebody, but like the things you don't like are things that like are not on your like compromising board.
Right.
And it's like, it's not to say rules, but like the things that are issues, I don't feel like are fixable. So it's like, it's tough,
Yeah.
you know, because it's like, do I feel like I have my best friend when I'm with that person? Absolutely. Do I feel like I can see life with them? Yes. But then I know, like, in the same beat, it's like the things that are bothering me now, I know are not things that are going to change. And I know
they're only going to get worse.
They're only going to get worse. So it's like they say, like, the things that bother you at the beginning are really going to, like, affect you later on. And I just, like, put a pause on that whole thing right away. I don't know. But then again, it could be a trickle effect. It could be like him not giving me 100 because he's feeling like I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, I'm not here to say, like, it's on that person, you know? I think, like, I learned so much in this little shenanigan, you know?
It's always those ones that are the
It's so
most
weird. It's
intense.
so weird. Like,
I mean, also, I think it's just like, I was trying to think as you were talking, is like, do you think it's worse to be too picky or worse to be not picky enough? But I actually think, like, both are bad, you know? Because it's like, if you're not picky enough, you end up with someone that you don't want to be with. But then it's like, if you're too picky, then you, like, can never let yourself just ride something through.
Yeah.
And I think there just needs to be, like, a happy medium where you're like,
for sure.
but then I don't think this is
but
that
do you
situation.
think like we know deep down inside, like, if something is it or not? Like, I feel like I listen to my intuition enough to know, like, this isn't it.
Yeah.
And, like, the second I made that decision, and, like, I really feel like there was, like, a weight lifted on my shoulder, because I felt like while I was in it, there was something that was like, Ale, I don't think you should be doing this. Like, I don't think this is it. I don't think this is it.
Right.
There was enough things that it's okay for you to be like, it's not it, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And, like, we tried.
Well, the weight lifted off your shoulder thing is so true.
It's, like, sad because I feel, like, hurt, and, like, obviously I want to talk to this person, but at the same time I'm like, if I'm feeling the weight lifted off my shoulder in the sense where I'm like, I think this is for the best, then I think, like, I answered my question, you know?
Absolutely. But then I also think there's a part of it where, like,
I feel like I'm making the wrong decision.
no, it's like, for me, because I'm, like, a commitment phobe, I like when, like, if something would happen that would take the decision out of my hands, I would feel a sense of relief where it's like, okay, the decision was made. Or, like, they break up with me, it's like, even though it hurts, you're still like, the decision was made. And, like, I think sometimes when you're, like, not sure, there's so much stress in that, either decision you make, you're like, at least you feel like something was done. And sometimes just,
that's
like,
how
ending
I feel.
it. But yeah, and sometimes ending it takes away the stress of having to make the decision. And like, that satisfaction can sometimes, like, either it could mean, like, you made the right decision, or it can be like you just took the decision.
I just
away
made
from
a
yourself.
decision. And I think, like, I spoke about on my Instagram how, like, my skin was really reacting, and I'm going to doctors and they're like, you're stressed. And I think this situation just put me at, like, a stress 1000.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then it's just like, how ironic, like, now my skin's better, and, like, now I made a decision. I just feel like a weight lifted off my shoulder. And it's not to say, like, I feel like I made the right decision. I just feel like I made a decision, you know?
And it's easier to, like, stick to something when you know, like, if you're jumping into it, or you're, like, choosing not to, it's a lot easier than being in the in-between. Like, that's the most difficult thing, is not knowing, not sure. You don't even know how to live your life, because you're like, are we going to be together in a week? Like, you never just know, you know? And that's, you never know, you know? But it's like, that's what weighs on you, is like the in the middleness. You don't know how to act. You don't know how to move. Like,
I think, like, I was, like, unsure, and then I, like, wrote a list, like, I tell everyone to do, like, write your negotiables and your non-negotiables. And then, like, when I was reading the list, I was like, ooh, like, I think the non-negotiables are, like, just as much as the good. And, like, you want to have a list where at least the good outweighs the bad. And I think in this situation, it was pretty 50-50. And I think that alone made my decision, like, okay, if there's that many things that are going to bother me, then it's not it, you know?
I mean, it's really good that you're able to, like, assess that, because I think a lot of people, like, would just be like, oh, okay, whatever, like, I'll just try and I'll just see. And
if it was me and my last, I would have just kind of, like, went through with it and been like, okay, like, let's see this through. But, like, it's crazy how, like, past experiences really affect, like, what you're willing to tolerate, what you're, like, not gonna accept. And I don't know, I feel like when I made the decision, I was like, I know that, like, it doesn't make sense now, Alessia, but, like, when you find your person, and, like, when you decide to settle down, like you'll be like, and this is why I didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm trying to find the light of the tunnel, even though I cannot see it now. I know it's there. Like
Yeah.
I know it's gonna
really
make
difficult
sense.
too when you are
It's hard
dating
because you're
people.
training your brain too. Like I feel like the thoughts that are like good and the thoughts that are bad, and it's like you're playing like mind control.
Yeah.
You know? But then it's like when you talk to people you know and love, they'll be like, hello, wake up. It's a little bit of a sign.
Guys, if your bush is looking like this, we have a problem, okay? And you know how we're going to fix that problem? With Manscaped. Because Manscaped is the best in below the waist grooming for men. So if you have a little hairy situation going on, use any of their tools to either get rid of that hair or make sure that it's at least smelling good.
So guys, use our discount Leo at checkout. No, I'm kidding. So head on to Manscaped and use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off your entire order so we can get that bushy situation all figured out. And also with that, you are getting free shipping, so no need to think about it anymore.
Yeah, no, and I definitely think like even when you look back on it, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, like these were, but I think it's good that you can see it. I think a lot of people like in your shoes wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now, and I think it's really good that you are.
Thank you. I feel like most people know though, like they have the intuition, like they feel it. I just think it's like whether you decide to go with it or not.
Yeah.
I think like this is a hard decision. It's not
Yeah.
like because I'm doing it, I'm like, I'm good at it. No, like I'm dying, you know, but
And it's also when something is based a lot on intuition, you always feel like,
yeah.
is it 100%? Like you're always second guessing yourself. You're always looking for a sign, looking for a reason. And that's why I'm saying like sometimes you almost want them to do something bad. So you could be like, that's my reason. Like I'm done.
Yeah.
You know? But I think it's good because like you're able to know like really what you want. And even though you know, like I think a lot of people would be like, oh, if I had something better, then I would like leave that person. But like
Yeah.
you're able to just be like, this is not what I want. And like I'd rather like have no one than be in something that that's just not really fitting. Even though it's like great in a lot of aspects, it's just not necessarily what I want.
If you guys have been following on my journey, I get why you would think that I feel like I'm like, okay, she always thinks there's better. It's
Yeah.
like I know the thing about relationships needing work. So I'm going everywhere with my mind. I'm just like, I don't know. It's
I think it's just sometimes you just know and like that's okay. You
Yeah.
know? Like,
I know one day it'll make sense.
yeah.
But then I also don't want to be that person who was like, didn't ever like take the chance to just do it. And then I look back on it when I'm older and it's like, well, that could have been a life. But then I
Yeah.
chose to seek something better and then end up. Thing is, I don't live in a world where like, oh, I'm not going to get what I don't want.
Yeah.
But like, it is like a fear for sure.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like just because you don't choose something doesn't mean that you're giving up on ever having that. I
Yeah.
think it's just like for right now, it's not working. And like, it's not like whatever is in the cards is in the cards. So
Yeah.
I don't know. The way that I see it is like rather be picky now than be
100%.
Then look back 5 years from now and be like, I should have been pickier because now I'm doing what I should have done because that's what you're feeling about you 3 years ago. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like rather do that now than later when you're like, I wish I would have just waited a little longer.
And I think it also made me realize how much I'm willing to give and how like if I didn't give it, it's just because it's not the right person.
You said you like learned things about yourself. Like you like found things out that you want to like change.
Yeah.
Or need to work on.
Yeah. One was definitely like communication. And like, I think I need to stop assuming that people know what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and just like share. I feel like I have a hard, okay, this is the thing. It's like you said, like I've been dating a long time and like there's certain standards and things that I expect. And like you said, it's probably not always a good thing. But the things that I was expecting are things that maybe like other people wouldn't like want and need. And like, I felt like I was crazy with that person for feeling like I wanted those things when I know in reality the person that like I would want to be with, that would be like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You kind of think like
I also think the communication thing, I think it's not always that you think that someone knows what you're thinking. I think you think that you know what they're thinking.
yeah.
I think you do that more than assume that they know what you're thinking.
I think I do both because I do it to me.
Yeah, but I think you'll often be like, yeah, but like this is why they're doing XYZ, and it's like, yeah, but you don't know that. Like you're building
A story. Yeah.
over something that you don't actually know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the problem is like when you communicate, it's like it's tough because it's like, okay, I could address this and like hear what you have to say and like have to believe whether or not you're telling the truth and whether or not you're gonna fix it or if it's even fixable or like get schmoozed by it, or I could just accept it at face value and like make my decision based off of that. And I think a lot of the times you take that just like face value, like this is what it is and it'll never change. But I think sometimes there are
That's
a
a
lot of
good
things
thing.
that people do change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think sometimes you can talk to somebody about something and they'll be like, oh, like, well, I'll fix that.
I made the right decision, but I'm also very lost.
I mean, making
I
any
don't know.
decision always feels like you're not sure. Because
Yeah.
any decision feels like, like I'm losing out. But at the same time, like I said, you're not losing out on something. Like, I don't think that people ever look back and be like, fuck, I really shouldn't have
But
done
that's
that.
what I'm saying. Like, if it should have been, it would have been. And if
Exactly.
it didn't, it's because of something.
Yeah. So it's just like, I think just like, for me, there's always like a piece knowing like, if I want it, I can have it.
Yeah.
And so like that just like settles something in me to always kind of have that like knowledge that it's like, okay, if I decide I want this, I could still go back and get it. And that's why I don't burn any bridges. But you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just like, sometimes it just makes it easier to like have that openness.
You ever feel like sometimes it's like it could work, but it's also like a timing thing? I don't know. I'm not saying this will never work, but I just think as of right now, no.
And that's good. I mean, I think at the end of the day, sometimes we truly
also
know
say
our
that
decisions.
though. We also say it's a time. I think a lot of the times it's like easier to say like,
Yeah.
you know,
Maybe in the
right?
future.
Maybe in the future, it's just like easier than being like it's not gonna work.
But I swear, like, that always makes me
Sometimes-
feel better. And I don't care that it's like you shouldn't maybe do that, but like I don't care because it just helps me get through like the initial like ripping of the Band-Aid. It helps me get through knowing that like if I decide to go back on my decision, I can.
Yeah.
It's like my like 30-day refund. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I like to have that security of like, okay, maybe just wasn't the right time and like we can rekindle. And you know what? Honestly, like the amount of time, I don't know even how I feel anymore about like people getting back together like years later. Like sometimes I see people and like it actually works out and I'm like, damn, like I always thought this like wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
You know, I've had some strong opinions, but then I see people work out with it and I'm like, wow, crazy.
Crazy. It's not gonna be me, but what was I gonna say? One of the things that really bothered me was that I'm really not I'm not a people pleaser. I realized that's not really my character. Veronica's like, that's offensive. Like, why are you being rude to me? I think I'm a lot of things, but one is not a people pleaser. Like, I do listen to myself and will do the best option for me, which sounds really deep and like, whoa. I think more people should be like that, in my personal opinion. But I think in ways it's good and in ways it's not. But normally I will do something. Oh, that sounds not right, but like, I have a big heart and all these things, but like I will definitely like do something that like I know I need to do for me in order, like before thinking of like anyone else. I think it's like a hard way to be like that, but I actually am. And the person I was talking to is not like that. And I feel like that's actually one thing I learned that I need. I need somebody to like really put value in like themselves first before other people. Because it's kind of like that saying where like you, in order to love other people, you need to love yourself. And I felt like that was a little bit missing. And like the view of wanting acceptance from others made me question like his acceptance towards himself and like what like is missing there.
Right. Which is really like,
which is fucking deep.
Yeah. Minga. Hope he's not crying if he's watching this.
No.
But it's true. I mean, that's a really good thing to...
You know what I mean? And like, I
Also-
think like it's not an easy thing for me to even be like, I will choose myself before I choose others. Cause like everyone wants to be that person who's like nice and like puts others before themselves. But like, I really realized that like the reason I even flourish in my friendships is because I've put myself first. And I feel like I even look at my mom and she is not really like me. Like she'll be like, you have to do this. Like you have to come see like your grandparents or whatever, and I'm like, today just doesn't work because I have to get this work done. And like for her, it's like, well, no, that's more important than your work. And it's like, I will always choose what I need to do first before like pleasing others.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like not everyone is like that, but I realized that's really something that I had a hard time like adapting with someone.
Yeah.
Like I want somebody to be like me in that sense.
Well, it makes sense because it's like, it's hard to be in a relationship where like you're prioritizing yourself and they're prioritizing you in a way, because then it's like you feel like you can't reciprocate what they're giving, but like you know that what you're doing is not coming out of like like bad intention, like it's coming out of like I just focus on myself. And it's kind of like that thing like that I had said about like having someone whose like priority is like themselves. Remember when we had that whole thing where I said like if he's calling off work? But it's like my thing is like I'm always gonna prioritize like my things and my jobs and all these things that I love, and like I'm always gonna hope that my relationship is gonna be like I'm not gonna be the type of person that's gonna cancel everything else for my partner. I've always been very much the type of like, it's just gonna go and like I'm gonna prioritize these things and we're gonna be like side by side prioritizing our things. Like I'll have no problem with someone being like, I need to do this, I need to do that, I can't be here for you this day, I can't do this day. Like you will never phase me by saying that, because I'll be that person to be like, hey, I can't be there, I'm working, or I can't be there because I have this, and like it's no problem for me. Like I really don't mind, and that's why I think it works best when I'm with someone like that, because they're doing their thing, I'm doing mine, and when we come together, it's like we're really together. You know?
Yeah, I think that was like the main thing, honestly.
Yeah, I think it leaves
it's
someone
hard.
feeling left behind.
It's hard to feel like it's hard for me to be with someone who feels like they need to be loved by the entire world, when like I'm okay with not being loved by everybody, and like really just like cherishing what I have and like the friendships I do. Like it's hard for me to be with someone who's really a people pleaser, because I feel like they're not pleasing themselves in the meantime. And then it's really making our relationship hard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because then you start doing things you don't want to be doing. Like they're doing things they don't want to be doing.
Yeah.
Like out of the aspect of just like doing it to please someone.
Yeah.
And that doesn't always like leave someone being like the happiest person.
Exactly.
You know?
So yeah, I need somebody to be selfish with them.
Yeah.
Like, which is such a weird thing. And like a lot of people will be like, don't you want him to like not be selfish with him? It's like, no. Him being selfish with himself is going to make him the best partner.
Yeah.
Like,
it's funny because I feel like people, I don't know what it is out there. I don't know if I've just been like blessed to have people that like to have like boyfriends who really prioritized me in the right way. But like I feel like when I say this, people are like, what the fuck? Like I would love if my boyfriend would like call off work to be with me, or if like I would love if he would like prioritize me or like cancel plans to be with me. And I'm like, no part of someone canceling plans to be with me makes me feel good. Like no part of that. Like I need someone who's like gonna be canceling our plans together to go do something. And it's crazy because I just feel like, okay, am I ungrateful for what you know what I mean? Like, am I an ungrateful person? Well, I'm like, leave me in the dust.
It just makes you feel grateful for the time you do spend together.
Yeah, I just like, I'm not like craving that.
I think,
like,
look, sometimes it's cute when someone does it.
Yeah.
I think when it starts to be a problem and like a red flag is when someone is doing something all the time to be loved by others, and then like is not really taking the time to be like, okay, but like
what's best for me?
What's best for me?
Yeah. And that's what stresses me out about people like that, is like, I feel like when you're always prioritizing other people or one person, you like forget about the things that you could be doing. It's like, yeah, sure, you can make time to do this, but don't you have better things that you could be doing with your time? Like, it's like you should always, I feel like even in a relationship, you should act as if you're single. And I think that's the biggest problem, is people get into relationships, they stop going to the gym, they stop doing their like hobbies that they were doing, they stop like going on walks, they stop reading, whatever their little things that they do when they have free time, they stop doing them because now your free time is filled with that person, right? And I just think that's such a big mistake, because you end up losing a lot of yourself by doing that. And like you're like it makes your relationship better by continuing to do those things, by continuing to put energy into yourself. Like that's only going to make your relationship even better, you know?
Yeah.
So I think like that's where people like kind of fuck up a little bit.
Yeah. One of the things he was saying, he feels like you know, like he's like a bit scared of me in the sense where like, and this is kind of deep to say, but he's like, I feel like with you, it's like you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and like the next good thing that's gonna come, you're just kind of gonna like leave me in the dust, or like I'm scared to like give myself fully to you. And I thought that was interesting. I'm like, why is he feeling that way? You know, like why is he feeling like at any point like I'm gonna like maybe just like pop off and be like, I don't think this is gonna work, because like that's how I was feeling. And I think it's because when you go against the things that you absolutely need in a relationship and you're not getting them, you're never naturally gonna be like, don't worry, let's fix this, let's work on this, because already you feel like you're going against things you want. So you already feel like you're doing charity work almost. It kind of feels like, you know? So whenever someone does something, it's like, oh, I told you so. Like, oh, I knew this would happen.
Yeah.
Because already going into it, I was like, but if I was going into it like with more like, I was ready for this and like they have most of the things I'm looking for, then I would be so open to any problems, I'm not making excuses for the things that like, you know, but.
That's so true though. When you're really like 100%, not even 100% into something, but when you're really like,
and the 100% doesn't mean it's because they have everything.
Yeah. But
you
you're
know?
just like, when you're really into something and when you really want something to work, it shows in how you fix things. I think you're a lot more like, I'm saying you're, but I mean like as people, like you're a lot more willing to fix the problems. Whereas like when you're not sure, it's like I said, you're like looking for any reason to be like, this is not going to work out. You know what I mean? And I think that's how you become when you're not like 100% into what's happening. You're just like, see, like
it goes against like my values. It goes against
like anything that happens. You're just like, okay, this is why like we shouldn't be together, or this is why it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
And
like,
then it makes you a worse partner. Like that in turn, it won't work out because of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And one of the things, I feel like sharing it because it's like I'm in the mood, but one of the things that like was really bothering me is that like, yeah, like obviously I've dated and like, you know, I've done dates that are like out of the city and stuff. So when, you know, you're kind of like seeing someone and they choose to like do a trip without you and like not invite you, but then like tell you like they miss you and they wish you were there. Like, I think for me, like actions are bigger than words. And for me, like I don't live in a world where like I want to hear someone talking and not doing.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's one of my biggest like pet peeves. Like
my God,
if you say something and you don't follow through on it, like you could do one thing to me and do that, and then it's gonna like take me so long to get your trust again.
Yeah.
So already like I went into it like, and then like there was things that were happening that I felt like were not matching up to the words that were being said, and then it was really, really hard for me to not like hate him for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Resent. Yeah.
And like especially at the beginning to be feeling this way, I don't think like is normal. You know, at like the beginning stage to feel like, well, you didn't keep up on a promise you said, and then like it just feels like it's all talk, and then like how do you want to like settle down with someone you feel like is like talking and not doing, and like and then like also him being away on a trip and like I'm behind, and like me feeling like you want to be with me, but then like why wouldn't you invite me, and then like also probably going back to like me dating and like feeling like any person I would ever date would have already done that for me, and like feeling like that person hasn't done it for me, and it's like, well, why? And it's like, do you want the best of both worlds? And like it just makes me think like, don't say, it's like hard because it's like, say you miss me on your trip, but then also like the fact that you're saying you miss me and you haven't already booked me my ticket to come see you is like such a turn off for me.
But like
it's
also
hard. But then it's like, if you weren't even saying you miss me, I'd be like, what the fuck? But then let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation.
But I also think that like that particular situation is like based off of like you having I don't want to say unrealistic expectations, but like having things that happen in the past that set like a standard that's actually not a norm standard. So it's like you're expecting it because you've had it before, but the people you've had it before with weren't people that you were even going to date. So it's like you're setting a standard based off someone that, or other people that have done something, but they weren't even like the person that you would have liked to be with. So you got that thing, but it's like totally different person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think like, yeah, but I don't know if I fully agree with that because like, I think like you can have both. Like you can have somebody who's like fun and is like absolutely like my girlfriend has it, my other girlfriend has that. Like it's not something that's like
No, I know.
I don't
I'm
want to
just
have
saying
to
that
feel
it's
like
not.
it's such a big deal, something like that. For me, it's like it's obvious. If you enjoy being with me and you want me there, then it's like I don't want a man who's gonna talk the talk and I'll walk the walk. Like don't say all these things and then don't pull through. I cannot be with a man that's like that. I physically can't. If you tell me like, look, this is what's going on, it's a boys trip, and then fine, and then like come meet me here, like I need that in order to feel like, okay, like it's gonna be fun adventures with us. Like I want adventures. Like I don't want things that are super planned and like it's just like that really threw me off for sure.
But I think that's just not a good example of like a time of like a situation. The timing of it all is just tricky because it's at a point where you guys were like just like deciding to make things like, do you know what I mean? Like I think it's also those things that you need to like consider as well. So I feel like it's just a little.
Come meet me. Come meet me. I miss
I know,
you.
but
You keep
it's.
saying all this shit. Come meet me. I don't know. We make excuses for things, but it's like if a
But
guy
you're also
wants-
saying come meet me. It's not come meet me in New York. It's come meet me far away.
Okay, great. You miss me. You want to be with me? No.
I don't know. I feel
don't
like
know.
I feel like it's a high expectation, especially when you guys were so wishy-washy. It'd be one thing if you guys were like, we're in this,
but
like
the thing is that like when he left, we had made it clear, and he had said, you know, if we weren't so wishy-washy at the beginning, because like, you know, you're figuring out somebody, there's a lot of things, you know, there's like a history, like I would have definitely taken you on the trip with me. But then you're on the trip and you're sending wish you were here, and it's like aggravating me, you know?
Yeah.
Because for me, I like live in a world where a man is just gonna take charge and be like, I wish you were here, you're coming, and that's the energy I need. So like maybe it's just to somebody it might seem insane, but to me it's like it's not insane. I don't know. And
I just think the timing of it is where.
but the
it
thing
makes
is
it.
like where it didn't make sense is like at first he was saying it's because we were arguing before we went, and then he was saying it was because it was a boys trip, and
Yeah.
it's like already there. It's like those two stories don't add up, and like also at points you're alone on your trip. Like it just feels like I could have obviously been there. Then like a guy brings another girl, and like you're there and you didn't invite me. Like there's certain things I don't want to get into it, but like there's certain things that made me think like it's of two reasons. Like you didn't want to like, and I don't even want to get into it, but like for me and the person I want to be with, it's a no brainer. I don't know. So my friend like literally said this to me, and there's music in the background, and it just happened to be like the music was so intense while he was saying that, but like we were kind of drunk and he was saying this, and I was like, wow. Because after everything I felt after speaking with him, just like this is what he sent me, okay? No, I took this video, sorry.
Is there someone who's like, you know, Alessia is my woman. Like this is the woman I desire. I want her to be. I want her to be with me. Like I want to wake up with her. I don't give a fuck my friends, boys trip and this and I want to plan dates with her. I want to make memories. Just come with me, be with me. Why? I don't care to go with these people.
The music is killing me. The music is killing
How
me.
funny is the music? I watched it the next day and I'm like, wait, what?
This is an inspirational
but like
video.
it's so true though, you know, like it's not about like go have 1,000,000 of your boys trips. So I feel like when you're at the beginning stage and you're testing out like who somebody is, it's not like, oh, like you've been in a relationship and now you're going and do this trip. It's like it's very fresh, it's very new, you're having these memories. Like, don't you want me there? And like I know because you're telling me you really want it, so what is stopping you? And then for me it felt like, well, I'm back here, like you're there, you want to be with me but you're not taking initiative. And then that kind of like translated into like the dates we were having here and stuff, and like the energy and thoughtfulness that was being put into it is like everything always comes full circle and makes sense afterwards. And like maybe it's not about the trip, maybe it's about everything in general, but like yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's about everything in general because I feel
Yeah.
like
It is.
the trip is like in itself explaining the situation. Like it doesn't, like I get it, but like I don't get it, if that makes sense. Like it's like
Yeah,
I
it's
get
okay.
it and I get your perspective on it, but like I also like a little bit like see another side to it. But I also think like with everything, like when things bother us, like we see the patterns and behaviors. So like I think it's just like a pattern of something that you're dealing with. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think
Yeah.
it's like particularly that situation versus more of just like
I think it's
you
a big
telling
one
me
though.
something.
It is a big one though for me.
I
But yeah.
don't think that if you guys were having like a good relationship and like they went on a trip and it was just like I miss you, like, but I'm having a great time, like it's like I had said to you, like had you just gotten into like just deciding to like commit to someone and you went on a trip, like I know that you never would have been like, why don't you come meet me?
No.
Like I
No,
know
no,
you would
for
have done
sure.
your own thing. So it's like I'm like able to see that side of it as well. Like I know myself, I would have gone and been like I miss you, but like I'm still good doing this. And like when I come back, like we'll really get into this. So it's like I see that side as well. You know what I mean?
I think it's different guy to girl, but yeah,
But
I
like
hear you.
it's not about guy and girl or sending or coming. It's just like the idea of like doing something on your own.
No, for sure.
Especially
I just
when-
think it's there's not enough context, but there's everything involved in it. You're right. Like it's not just that, for sure.
But I think for like a short period of time, like there's too many things that
That's
are
what-
like stories.
That's
or
what
like
I'm
concerns,
saying. That's what I'm
you
saying.
know?
And I don't. Yeah, it's too much for the beginning honeymoon stage.
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to be the best stage.
Yeah.
Why am I feeling a certain way? Why is he feeling a certain way? Why am I feeling, and then it's like, it was so hard to like explain how I felt. And then like I came off so like privileged and like bitchy when I did say something. And then I felt like I hurt his feelings and like, it's scary because then it's like he feels like he's competing with other guys, when it's like, well, this is like the kind of like thing I'm used to and this is what I expect, It's like, my God, can I ever live up to her standards? Like, I get it. I get where it comes off that way. But then it's like, in the same beat, it's like, but why should my standards lower though? Do you know what I mean? Like, if that's what I expect, then that's what I should go for. And I
Well,
shouldn't settle.
I mean, it's all about your priorities.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're really in love with someone, does the trip matter? Or does the trip matter more than how much you love them?
I don't know. It's more than the trip, but yeah.
But you get what I'm saying? Like, it's like, if you really loved someone, like, I feel like that's where things, like, you're able to be like, okay, well, it's not always about
It's hard because it
standards.
didn't get all the way there yet.
Yeah.
So, like...
But I mean, like, when you're really, like, into someone, that wouldn't have been, like, I'm giving... You know what I mean? Like, you would have been like, I'm getting so much else that, like, it doesn't bother me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just when you're unsatisfied in other areas and something doesn't happen, that's when it really bothers you.
I don't know. It's scary when like you're starting something with someone and you feel like it's a very one-sided, like, I think I'm going to do this. And like the plans don't seem like we, and it seems very I. And I get it. At the beginning, you're kind of like testing the waters. It's weird to be like, oh my God, like, are we, like this is, but the thing is, still at the beginning, you should still feel like, I know I've been there, like, you should still feel like it's like, what do you think of this? And like, like even the phone call, like I'm gonna, like, even the way you're saying, like, I think I'm gonna stay longer. It's like not really taking into consideration how I feel, where I'm at. Like, it's not a conversation. It's very I. There's a lot of things that just like, to me, it's like, I don't want that.
Before you said you wanted someone who was selfish.
Yeah, but I want it to be a
I know.
conversation. Like, I don't want it to be like, I'm going to do this. It's like, and I'm trying to look at it like, wait, we're seeing each other. Like, how's this going to work if you feel like you're going and do all these things? You're going to go live in this country for a little bit. And like, it's not like, come with me. There's never
Yeah.
been like a come with me.
Yeah.
So feeling like already like you left on the ship alone and then like the next one's going to be alone. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
I don't live in a world where I'm going to like do this relationship and you're just going to be traveling all the time by yourself.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not what I want, So like it goes deeper than that. But anyway, it's just been like a definite learning curve and like where I need to be better at. And like, even my communication, it's like I don't speak and then I blow up, which is terrible. I'm like, no offense, but this is what I expect. It just sounds so like, what are you saying? Shut up.
I just think sometimes, like, when the right person comes along, like, it's not gonna be like this is what I expect. I think we put a lot of like standards and I want this and I want that, but sometimes you meet someone that like you're like, oh, you're like, it all means more than having to do these little things. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that the trip is little or whatever, but it's just like sometimes things are just so good that like things like that aren't like a concern.
Exactly. There was definitely other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that like if you feel a weight lifted off your shoulder, then that's like the right route to go.
Someone could listen to this and be like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, bro, like relax. He's on a boys trip. Like he's gonna come back. But it's like, it's just really something like I want a partner who's like, I don't care if it's a boys trip. Like, babe, come. You know? And it's, I don't know. It's weird. It's just what I would expect at this point on if I'm like getting into something. You know? I don't know.
I feel like it's just like a unique situation that like you're probably not gonna come by again. So hopefully not.
Definitely not. Definitely not. No.
But like obviously it's always tricky when it's like in the middle. So like at least you made a decision now and like that's it. You just move forward from it and like at the end of the day, like you know deep down like what you want and what you don't want. So
and it's like you said, it's not the trip. There's other things. Like trust me, I just don't want to get into it. I don't want to like air out, like I already aired out way too much, you know, but the trip is like the one that makes me sound the most stupid. Like there's so many things that you guys are gonna be like, I get it, but like it's just like the icing on the cake and like it bothered me, so I shared it. Yeah.
So guess you're back on the market.
Oh my god. People were like, we didn't even know you got off.
Yeah.
It was for like 1 second. I tried, guys. I tried.
Doesn't count.
The single life still wants me. They're pulling me back.
The streets are calling.
Oh, God. The streets are empty.
It's just you in it.
It's literally just me in it.
Okay, well, guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and we'll see you next week.
We love ya. Okay, we're done for the day.